and welcome to your short clip on mobility of the lumbar spine and pelvis. As your pelvis attaches to your sacrum, which is the bottom bit of your spine there, that's called your sacroiliac joints. You can get a bit stuck above that where L5 is, and many of us will know of L5, 4, 3, 2, 1, of the lumbar spine. Life being seated means that we get a little bit short across the front of the hips here, the muscles that allow us a little bit of hip extension, get a bit tight. One of these attaches to the lumbar spine, and that will definitely affect the movement and the positioning of our lower back. And what I'm trying to say is, this short clip is going to stretch muscles to enable you to feel a little bit more mobile in the lumbar spine, and also to just reduce the risk of back pain because of stiffness and immobility. So the first thing we're going to do is lie down, which is nice. And you can do these stretches first thing in the morning. So you wake up, give one knee a hug. Hold the knee, really bring that leg in, just getting a little bit of a stretch around your bottom. And then we gently bring the other knee in, give it a hug, and allow that leg to lie long and rest on the floor. And then quite simply from there, bring both knees in. I've got my knees out a little bit so that when I hug them, bring them up towards my shoulders, my bottom is lifting off the floor, and I'm just getting that opening there through the lower back. That trying to move the lumbar spine, and right there as your pelvis attaches to your spine, just stretching, moving around the sacroiliac joints a little bit. But what we're going to do then is roll onto our side and come up onto all fours. So hands under our shoulders and knees under the hips. And as you're here, you want to think about your neck being lovely and long, shoulders back. As I say, knees under the hips here, don't just let yourself collapse. Push up through the hands, tuck the tail under a bit so you're in a neutral position. But we're going to move the spine. So from here, I'm going to breathe in. As you breathe out, engage the core and tuck your tail under. Push your back up towards the ceiling and do a catch stretch. And then gently go down into extension of the spine. And then again, tuck the tail under, push your back up, do the catch stretch. And then go the other way. Draw your shoulders away from your ears and look forwards. And then again, lift your back up towards the ceiling. And down we go. And I'm going to ask you for one more of these. This is a safe way of stretching down the length of your back because you're not loading your spine. If we now come back to this neutral position but tuck the tail under a little bit, so we're not neutral, we're definitely not in extension, slightly around the lower back. And then look towards your hip, turning your tail out as well, so you curve down the other side. And if I go the other way, you can see I'm lengthening down this side of the body. So we call this a tail wag. So we're just trying to get this movement on one side of the sacrum and then the other. And again. And this might feel a bit weird, but it's a lovely little bit of movement for the lumbar spine. A little bit of a stretch for some of those lower back muscles. We're going to do 4 more. 3, 2, and 1 more. And then settle. What I'm going to do here is take one knee slightly further back. And from there, breathe in. As you breathe out, just sit back. Now, clearly I'm going a little bit more onto the other knee, which is still further forward. Reach this arm forwards, and then come back up. Now, as I sit back on this side that's closest to you, I'm really opening up down the side of the back there. As this knee is slightly further back, my hands stay forwards and then come up. So just encouraging a little bit more movement at this side of the lumbar spine going into the sacrum. 1 more. And then come back up. Take this knee back to under the hips and the other knee back. And sit back. So you can see I'm putting more weight through this leg as you come up. And then again, sit back. And come up. We did 4 of these, just trying to create a bit of movement at the sacrum, okay, where the pelvis and spine slot together, and then rest, and then I'm coming back to the centre, but I'm going to take my knees out a bit wider and just shift back. Notice as I go back to there, then my tail tucks under, get that stretch right around the base of the spine and neck. Reach the hands forwards. Really nice to stretch some of those bigger muscles, that biggest back muscle that attaches underneath the arm there. And then gently come up. Now, the next stretch you could do on your landing upstairs, dangling one leg down the stairs. Okay, but maybe you don't have a landing, okay, or it doesn't fit you on it. So you could use a block or even a roller. The roller's a bit bigger, so it does give the ability for a slightly greater stretch, but you do need to be careful of your technique. If you're upstairs in the landing, you've taken me with you, then you lie on the landing. Your bottom is not quite sat on the landing, so you need to be careful how you do this, and you lie on the landing. We're not on the landing, so we're going to pop the roller underneath your bottom with your tail tucked under. And we want to make sure we don't go into extension of the spine. So we bring one knee right into the chest, give it a hug. On the landing, you do that because you want to keep your back on the floor. The other leg dangles down the stairs. Now with the stairs, your leg can just relax. And what we're trying to do is encourage this lengthening across the front of the hip here. So I'm just going to hold on to this leg. If your knee doesn't like being bent like that, then hold underneath. It is purely and simply so your back doesn't arc. Push your back into the floor. Let this leg dangle down the stairs and without any restrictions at the top of the leg. So my bottom is slightly off the roller. I'm resting on the back of my pelvis, the top of my pelvis, allowing this leg to hang down. And hopefully that's about 30 seconds. So I'm going to bring that knee up, give it a hug, let the other leg dangle down the stairs or off the table. Maybe you'll get in trouble lying on the dining room table, but here, as you hug this knee, let this leg hang. Now, my advice would be to do 30 seconds 3 times. So we're going to do that approximately. I'm not timing, but with all the talk, maybe we're doing 30 seconds. Just encouraging this stretch across the front of the hip, opening the joint. Because we sit quite a lot, we close off the front of the hips because we change legs again. So just the joint in itself, the ligaments here, just become a bit taut. We want some length here. We really do, to allow us to walk properly, stand up properly. So if you are someone who sits at a desk quite a lot, maybe then for exercise, jumps on a bike, you're going to be short at the front of the hips here. So let's stretch them. Let's encourage length to enable us to function properly, thus reducing our risk of injury. Going to bring that knee in. So I've done 30 seconds on this leg. I'm going to do it twice. I'm going to do this side as well. So you could do this in the morning, at lunchtime, and then before you go to bed, just to try and move the lumbar spine, as we did at the beginning there with those exercises, the cat-cow stretch, to just stretch across the front of the hips. Most of us are tight here. So this would probably take us all in all 7-8 minutes, not very long at all, as we do one more of these on each leg. Let the leg dangle. So maybe you're in the way, lying on the landing upstairs. Maybe you're like me and you're doing it on the roller here. I can feel the pressure here on my lower back. It's not going to do me any harm. The block underneath your bottom is an option too. Doesn't give you the room that the roller here does, or much better would be to allow yourself to lie on a couch. Your bed is probably too soft. You'll sink into it, but ultimately we want to allow the weight of our leg to stretch and open the hip. Let's change sides. Other leg, give it a hug. Let that leg lie. Look, hang. Be long and let it hang. Fabulous. So last little bit, and then what I'm hoping, if you do this more regularly, hopefully you notice an improvement in your lumbar spine. If you suffer with tightness there, it's going to definitely increase your risk of injury. So if we do this every day, I'd like to think that you would notice a difference, particularly this one. And now what I'm going to do is put my feet on the floor, lift my bottoms and my blocks out the way. I am going to give both knees a hug. And then I'm going to gently roll onto my side. And when you come to get up, as I said, I'm hoping that you feel more mobile through the lower back there. And actually, over time, you will notice how the improvement in the flexibility at the front of the hips makes such a difference, even to the pace at which you walk. I hope that helps.